Ever since Eve bit that apple, dog. Ever since Eve bit that apple, we've been searching for a knowledge. Lucifer was like, yo, you want to know more things? That's the tree of knowledge. I feel like scientists do the same thing. In that search for knowledge, they slowly start to think that they're gods. Because the more that they know, the more they understand about the universe, they're closer to an all higher being.
Don't you be a fool, you finna hear the truth. Watch me do what I do on the pod with the mic, and I ain't keeping it cool. Gotta bring the heat, gotta hit the street, gotta stay 100, they ain't scaring me. You want a censor a boss, you want a censor a king. I'm not taking a loss, facts is all I bring. I'm speaking candidly, ancestors they stand with me. It's Pharaoh and Dessaline, the blunt of reality.
What's going on, Blunties? It's your boy Dessaline.
Here with Pharaoh. We got another episode for you guys. Stay tuned and check us out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, guys. We've been talking about it for a while now, right, Pharaoh?
Yeah, yep.
CDC, FDA, as y'all know, we at war with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we at war with the CDC, FDA as a people, as a country, because there's some things that they have responsibility to, and sometimes they gaslight people. There's a lot of things that's happening in courts, families that are suing medical facilities, etc., and a lot of protection comes from the CDC, FDA, etc., and they make it their job and duty to make sure that they are not responsible for something that they know they may be responsible for.
Yep.
Pharaoh, I don't know if you want to take it forward with this.
All right. So, as you guys are aware, there was a Childhood Injury Act in 1986. So, manufacturers wouldn't get sued. Now, you can sue, but manufacturers wouldn't get sued. You couldn't sue them directly. Now, interesting enough, there was a study that was done, and this study, what we found out, guys, I'm not going to lie to you, is going to shake you to the core. And if you don't believe this, then I don't know what else to tell you. Now, this study, right? This study was a study that was done for the impact of childhood vaccines, short and long-term effects, and pretty much the chronic health outcomes in children. So what does that mean? So they took a bunch of children from the ages of from the years of 2000 and 2016. This was about 18,468, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that is
right.
Fair. Yeah,
and those were the amount of participants that they had, and about 2,000 of those people were unvaccinated, and the conclusions were wild.
Right.
Wild.
Right. You know what's crazy about this? Because we're gonna go into the article and all of that and speak some.
I don't want to give them the juices yet.
No, of course, but just understanding how scary it is to listen to doctors, and you know, these are the people that you want to trust, etc. And it's scary because you could be shunned on. Your family could be like, "Yo, I don't fuck with you no more. I'm not in your corner anymore. You are ostracized from this family for not taking this thing that's normalized in our society, especially not giving it to your kid or whatever it may be. You are crazy." And now you have more and more studies coming out that are saying, nah, they're not. They're like, you got to remember, man. I think we ever since Eve bit that apple, dog. Ever since Eve bit that apple, we've been searching for a knowledge. I'm about to tell you something real quick of what I think, real quick before we move on. when it comes to the Bible, everybody knows that story of Adam and Eve, et cetera, et cetera. But in my mind, I always thought, okay, they were ashamed of their bodies once they bit that apple, and they were much more aware of something, or they had shame or whatever it may be, right? They wanted to cover up whatever. Later on, as I found out through science and all of that, I feel like ever since then, the whole point of them eating that up or taking that bite, I think Lucifer was like, yo, you want to know more things? That's the tree of knowledge. The more you know what I mean? It's going to be better. And I feel like scientists do the same thing, where they have this search for knowledge, and in that search for knowledge, they slowly start to think that they're gods, if that makes any sense. Because the more that they know, the more they understand about the universe, the more they can either manipulate it. They're closer to an all higher being or power that may have been responsible for creating it all. Mm-hmm. So in that arrogance, in that lack of humility, we get to doctors pumping us full of stuff, of experiments, and then them having the audacity to be like, yo, who do you think you are? You think you're a scientist? You better listen to me.
Right.
Even if, there's a possibility that it might fuck you up.
How dare you question the narrative? How dare you go against what they call science? Now, I'm not going to lie to you, Dessaline. I like that analogy that you just gave us. Now, I want to ask you a question, right? Because you and I, we both took a look at this study. I remember at one point you were like, "Yo, look at the mental disorders versus the vaccinated and the unvaccinated." And we had a conversation. You want to tell them the conversation that we were having?
Well, basically, I was mentioning that I was like, hey, because there was a study that was basically saying that, look, there are more mental disorders, more autistic cases in this sample study.
Yeah.
But then when you go do research as far as into people, families who are in current lawsuits with vaccine companies, with CDC, with whoever, you have that part of it, right? And we were going back and forth on that. But when you stack it up with all the other things in society, you feel what I'm saying? When you stack, for example, if you stack vaccines and the percentage of something bad going wrong, okay, they even have the warning signs written in small letters on them motherfuckers. I'm just letting you know. But you stack that on top of, let's say you had a parent who was taking these drugs or drinking this liquor. Let's say, boom, let's stack that on. Let's stack on top of that the scheduled vaccines on top of that.
Yeah.
Let's stack on top of that the pollution in the air, the food you eat, the air you breathe. Let's stack all these things that's against a child, bro. You talking about it? A person whose soul just got into the world, exposed to all these different chemicals, and we're surprised that a large amount is coming into this place. Like, America's children are probably the most unhealthiest children on the planet Earth.
Yeah.
How is that possible with all this science, all the money we give as a country?
Yeah.
To that area? And why hasn't it been put into holistic medicine? Why hasn't it been put into natural shit? No, we have a cure for everything. Depression and all. Bro, the cure is always natural. To be like, the best is always natural. Certain situations, yes, we could argue. But it's already been proven. Natural is always the best way. But anyway, like I was saying, when you stack all that against the kids, bro,
yeah,
it's like what else you gonna do?
I want the Blunteers to look at some of this information, right? Mm-hmm. And you tell me if this doesn't seem vaccine injury related, right? Because if you look at some of the outcomes, they measured all of these different diseases, which I'm gonna tell you guys right now. So they measured chronic health conditions, asthma, atopic disease, autoimmune disease, brain dysfunction, cancer, diabetes, food allergies, mental health disorders, neurodevelopmental disorders, ADHD, autism, behavioral disabilities, development delay, all these different things. And when you look at some of this information right here, Blunteers, like just look at chronic health conditions. Per million, there were 4,732 with the vaccinated group, and the unvaccinated group per million only had 160. Whoa. This is alarming. Even with asthma, per million, this is 2,867. These are numbers compared to the non-vaccinated, only 52, bro. Now you got to understand how long has been. How long has it been since Robert Kennedy has RFK been in NIH? A year. Now they're coming up with more information, and they're saying that certain things are linked to certain things, but this hasn't really been talked about that much.
Oh, so now I have to play the devil's advocate.
Okay.
Literally, by the way.
Yeah.
I gotta literally play the devil.
Okay.
Because this is the devil we talking about.
Yeah.
So, fuck, I don't want to do it, but I got to.
You got to do it. Just go ahead.
All right. The reason why, of course, the media is of course controlled by pharmaceutical companies. That's one. That goes without saying. But on top of that, when it comes to these case studies, the argument is the sample size. When you have different sample sizes and there's other things that come into play, these are things that the lawyers of these companies, of these CDC companies, of these vaccine defenders will come up with, like, okay, what's the sample size? Okay, who are these kids? Okay, for example, you said it was only 1,400 and some odd number of actually unvaccinated, correct?
Yeah.
Versus over 15,000 that were vaccinated.
Yeah.
So the ratio you have to pay attention to too. I haven't done the math.
Yeah.
So if you have the ratio of 15,000, however, versus 1,400 and however, and it's like, okay, they only had like 50 in this sample size, and then like probably 4,000, 6,000 in this sample size.
Yeah.
You have to basically take the percentage, and that's how we go off of. So it's not misleading, but you would have to do the percentages yourself in your mind. For example, on that, I could do it right now, but I don't feel like doing all of that. But that would be the argument. They would be like, okay, we need a larger sample size. We don't know this specific case study, but there's also been other case studies that support what's going on here.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's really about what you believe. Do you believe that mankind or scientists or CDC or Big Pharma has your health in the best interest? What have they cured?
I think on the CDC website, right, when you go, not even a CDC website, I think it's one of the cancer website. It might be the CDC, right?
Yeah.
They said cancer research, the cancer research website, I think it's been going on for 30 years. For 30 years right now, they've collected for the last 5 years, they collected, I think, $4.5 billion in revenue.
Yeah.
Now, that's just in 5 years. And they clearly tell you they don't know what caused cancer. So you're telling me an organization that's been around for 30 years, right? In 5 years, they can collect $4.5 billion, and they can't come up with where cancer comes from, how you can beat cancer. You know what this tells me? I'm going to tell you flat out, because I'm done with holding my tongue and how I feel about certain things. They're taking your money and they're killing people and making people sick. It's just flat out. It's the evidence is right here. There's really not much to go back and forth and have a conversation about. We're at a point right now. We're in the age of Aquarius. We're in the age of information. Everyone right now, you are in charge of yourselves. Like, you guys cannot, and I repeat, you guys cannot let everybody else be in control of your health. You have to be the one. Like me, I'm not going to lie to you. My children, I love my children. And I refuse to participate in this game, this charade, this multi-trillion-dollar fucking chess game. if you would like to say.
That's exactly what it is a chess game. My fault. You can go.
Yeah, and I refuse to participate in it. And the way that I refuse to participate in it is with knowledge. You have to understand the enemy knows who you are. The enemy is aware of who you are, right? And the enemy has a very smart way of making people forget. This is something that has been going on. There's articles from the 1800s about curing cancer and you know, curing cancer and where certain diseases come from, and it's all here. The thing is, we are quick to forget who the enemy is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm rambling right now.
No, you good.
I'm rambling. It's a lot of I'm sorry. It's a lot of information, and the thing is, like, to unpack all this information, you really have to have a sane mind, because, man,
you have to have time. You have to have time. It's a lot, man. It's a lot to take in. And just to add on to what you were saying, it's dangerous. It's extremely dangerous to not be, you know, like, you got to remember the culture, though. You feel what I'm saying? Like, at the end, you're talking about the same people, the same influence that said at a time in the 80s or 70s or 60s that cigarettes were healthy for you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have to have a more of an open mind, and that's why I was surprised about how many people during the COVID-19 era, how many people was like, yo,
shout out to my unvaxxed community, yo. I'm not even gonna talk
real talk,
but yo, out of respect,
shout out to them, yo. But I'm so surprised. That's why I'm like, yo, if y'all know all of this past what they're capable of, why would you be disingenuous and to cut your own family members off for not taking an experiment?
I got cut off.
Like, where are the apologies at, man? We got to start a hashtag with the Blunted Reality. Hashtag, where are the apologies?
There you go.
We need that.
Yeah. Hashtag, where are the apologies?
Hashtag, where are the apologies?
Yeah.
Hashtag,
you were right.
You were right.
You know what I mean? And I'm not laughing at the fact, because we got to think, right? This is serious. But at one point, there were a lot of people who chose the unvaxxed route, and we were slammed. Like, I remember, we couldn't go places. I felt like, because everybody was saying, I felt like I was black. Well, I am black, but can you imagine someone who's not black to be discriminated on? Now, this is how black people felt, or this is how black people feel probably on a regular.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Spoke about that.
Now, everybody had got a taste of what it feels to be black.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Everybody was getting discriminated. Well, all the people who...
The unvaccinated
were getting discriminated against.
Got a taste of what it was to be black during that time, and, you know...
Yeah, you couldn't go places.
Some places over here, too.
But yo, man.
And hold on. So we're conflating right now. We're conflating the thing.
Okay.
The study we were talking about were vaccines among the children and how much they have to take legally from an infant till now, or till, you know, the early years of their elementary, infant, you know, years. So the COVID-19 is completely different. It's not even technically a vaccine, to be honest. It's an experimental drug, but whatever.
Yeah.
But specifically, the vaccines that children need to take, that is the study that's important. Not only that, I don't know if we mentioned it already, but they can't even say that on their site no more. CDC had to take it off. They can't say, because they don't have the proof. They themselves have not done the case study. That is what's strange.
So no phase 3 studies, no placebo testing, none of that.
So I was just talking to AI, Grok.
Yeah.
They were saying still there's no, like, I'm speaking to an AI, and the AI was telling me, hey, it's only because Trump and RFK forced CDC to take down the fact that they said that vaccines don't cause autism. So they were forced, but there's still no proof that vaccines do prove autism. That's what AI had the audacity to say to me. Why am I angry? I'm angry because why hasn't the CDC done a case study themselves? Because they don't have any proof. Why don't they have any proof? Because that's where it's scary. because then they would have proof that they're poisoning an entire planet Earth.
Yo, all right, so the other day, right? Because what I'm doing right now, I'm piggybacking off of you.
Yeah.
Just let's brainstorm real quick. The other day, right? I'm like, yo, I wonder if this goes against the Nuremberg Code. And guys, Blunteers, if you guys don't know what the Nuremberg Code is, just look it up. Or I can just tell you right now. So the Nuremberg Code is a set of research ethic principles for human experimentations that arose from the Nuremberg trials after World War II. Key points include informed consent must be voluntary, informed, and given without coercion. Benefits versus risks. Benefits should outweigh risk with a favorable risk-benefit ratio. Scientific necessity. Experiments must be justified by scientific purpose and based on prior animal testing. So they had no placebo testing, no phase 3, none of that, right? Avoid unnecessary suffering. Physical and mental suffering should be avoided. Whoa. And no expectation of death. Experiments should not anticipate death or disability as an outcome. There's a storm brewing, and the storm is called truth.
Bro.
That is the storm. And the storm is going to awaken a sleeping giant, and this sleeping giant is called America. Mm-hmm. Guys, I want you guys to pay attention. These are a set of principles that were coming from after World War II.
Right.
Guys, you got to really pay attention. I want to know if this goes against the Nuremberg Code.
It 100% does, and that's what's dangerous about it. That's what's dangerous about it, right? Because you have these ethics in place far beyond the years of where we are now.
Yeah.
This is why these people like Fauci and people like politicians, this is why they had to have actors on television to make you feel bad.
Yeah.
That was against the Nuremberg Code. What was it? How do you pronounce it?
Nuremberg.
That was against the Nuremberg Code. Why? Did I say it wrong again?
Yeah, it's a tongue twister for me.
That is against the Nuremberg Code.
There you go.
All right, there you Nuremberg. It's German.
It probably, yeah, it is. It is German.
Oh wow,
it is.
But it's not a surprise because it's like, okay, boom. If you that's why they have to do this. It's coercion. Hey, you can't work here unless you take this, but it only took them a year to take it. Vaccines usually take about more than that.
All right. They had to go.
It doesn't matter. You lose your job, family members. What? You didn't? What? You're not invited to Thanksgiving anymore. Oh, this funeral? Yeah, you can't come to this funeral. You don't got it. You don't got this thing that they said to take.
Right.
This is a psyop that happened that's against that code.
Right.
And that's what's dangerous about them doing this study. Like the study that we just read, CDC could have done it themselves. And you know what's more dangerous is if they did do the test or did do the case study, and then they chose to be like
destroy it like they usually do. Mm-hmm. Yo, all right. So look, right. I'm going to tell you right now, shout out to Rizza Islam. I'm going to tell you why I say shout out to Rizza Islam. Mm-hmm. This brother has been talking about this stuff for a very, very long time. I remember in 2020 when COVID first, COVID was going on, and he was talking about how which vaccine was this? Was it the
COVID-19?
No. It was
the vaccine before that.
It was the
just the regular ones. Okay.
Is it mRNA?
The mRNA.
All right, so I don't quote me on this. I'm so mad that I'm not getting this right now.
Right.
He was talking about that. It was a specific vaccine that was linked to autism, right? And and what he said was, when black people take it and their white counterparts take it, it's a completely different outcome. And I remember having this argument with this girl, and she's like, oh no, you got to go on the website. More white people are autistic. And I'm just like, look, like, I get it. Like, like you do testing and shit like that. You're probably a scientist or whatever. Like, but these are people who are literally whistleblowers talking about this. And there was somebody in the CDC who had the information, and they destroyed the information when they found out. So there was a guy who found out about how black people had a 300% more likely to get autism due to the vaccine, and their white counterparts really didn't. So when they found that out, he tried to basically keep the evidence, but they ended up destroying that shit.
Right.
And Rizza Islam was mentioning, he was talking about it for years, and they were slandering his name. I think it was 328%. Yeah, it was like a 328 increase of autism. But shout out to you, Rizza Islam, because if it wasn't for you, I promise you.
Can I drop a bomb for Rizza Islam? Can I drop a bomb?
Go ahead.
Yo. Real talk.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Shout out to you, because honestly, you brought me to that path where I really started to do more research, and I really started to remember. It's not about doing the research. I remembered, okay, these are the same people who've been doing a whole lot of bullshit from 100 years ago, like the past. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Shout out to you, man. Like, I don't want to go on a rant, but shout out to you, because if it wasn't for you, bro, I would have never went on this path of trying to figure what's going on in this country.
Pharaoh, real talk. Rizza Islam is a superhero. Let me just let you know that right now. I don't think you understand what he had to sacrifice to go through to inspire people like you and me.
Yeah.
I was inspired too.
Mm-hmm.
Rizza, the way he articulates himself, and there's no malice in his heart the way he conducts himself also.
Right.
There's no malice in his chest, but he stands strong on his beliefs. And when it comes to him, he was literally battling a whole bunch of doctors, a whole bunch of people who called him kook, crazy. They took him off the internet.
Right.
They took Rizza Islam to court, which he just won.
Yep.
Everything he was warning about the vaccine, everything he was talking about, they tried to say he was a lie. They tried to say he was a scheme. They sent the FBI to his house, and he was happy about it because he was talking. Oh, let me show you some documents. So you're saying this isn't true? They tried to scare him with FBI agents, etc., and he came out on top. YouTube had to send him a fucking apology letter. If y'all not following Rizza Islam, the intellectual extremist, make sure you go do that right now. YouTube had to say, we're sorry, we took you off YouTube, here's your page back. You feel me? So you're talking about a person who's fighting against the system, who did his research on the vaccines, and to this day, he's still being proven right, alongside actual scientists, a global environment of scientists, not just a small sample size, who's saying, listen, guys, be careful. Because, yes, we can say this, we can say that, but these case studies, what people are going through, these experiments that we're doing to people, what we need is a correct number to say, okay, it was worth it. How many people you think is worth it for a vaccine to be effective? Will it need to be at 90%? Will it need to be at 95, 98? Or is 65, 75, 85 good? What do you think?
All right, so I'm going to tell you right now, and I don't want to get slandered for this. I truly believe when you look at vaccines in the totality itself, they probably have less than 10% effectiveness, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Majorities, like I truly believe that, yo. The effectiveness of a lot of these vaccines are not a very high.
It's what you believe. I feel like this could be broken down into numbers. This is why I love having these conversations.
Yeah.
Because your responsibility as a government, as an entity that is literally responsible for pumping people full of drugs. Your responsibility is that. So how is it possible that American children are the unhealthiest in the world?
Right.
Are you failing? And if you're failing, why haven't you admitted, oh, we did some bullshit?
Right. Well, because that comes down to profit. Now, they're going to lose money pretty much. Yeah. Why would we? So you got to understand, if they say that they did something wrong, now the next question is, okay, well, restitution. If they decide to admit to being wrong, that just puts them out of business, and that goes against the entire reason why they're in business now. We're not in business to fucking cure anyone. We're not in business. This is not the reason why we're in business. We're in business to make money.
See now. So now we're conflating, right? We're conflating again. I'm not trying to come at you, but I'm saying that that's the problem with the health system, because you can't have companies that depend on sick people while at the same time having a company directed by the government to make sure that these other companies are following the rules. Because when you have money floating around, these rules slip through the cracks and into your children. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It slips into the elderly. It slips into people who are like, oh, no, this is not bad. They said it's not bad. Because you have that name, you have that credibility. If you see a police officer on the corner and then you see somebody getting stabbed to death, right, in front of you, yo, this person's murdering this person. And the cop said, listen, just keep it moving. It's all right. Listen, I'm a cop. Look at my shield. It's fine.
It's fine.
I got this. And then what, you gonna keep walking and minding your fucking business?
All right.
No, a real person's gonna be like, let me call a 911. There's a person getting murdered and a police officer's right there, and let it happen. Now one was gonna be like, what? It's the same concept. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the same exact concept, because it's like, if you do have these CDC reps, whoever it may be, if you do have these doctors, whoever they may be, and despite what's happening in front of you, despite the lawsuits, they're still saying it's still the most safe and effective way to protect yourself.
You know,
like, come on, like, you're gaslighting people. My fault. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like guys, like, let's just be honest. I remember getting my childhood vaccines. I remember, and every time that I would get vaccinated, I would be sick for weeks. Now you got to understand, right? How many parents today in America get your child the flu shot? How many of you guys do that every single year? Right out of summer, right after the summer, children are getting sick in the fall. That doesn't even make any sense. When children are outside all day under that vitamin D, you shouldn't be getting sick in the beginning of the school year. And it only happens in the beginning of the school year. Why? Because a lot of you guys, it's like an ending cycle, never ending cycle.
An endless cycle, yeah.
And then you have to understand, every year you guys go and get your vaccines, right? And then you shed on all the other people who don't get vaccines. You know what that is? That's the actual thing, shedding. Shedding is when someone gets a vaccine and the disease that you were trying to prevent, you actually infect the other person with it. It's called shedding.
Right.
So you guys, right, when I take my unvaccinated child to your vaccinated schools, you guys shed on my kids and get my kids sick. And for a very long time, we thought it was the other way around. And we have to use logic. We're losing this sense of logic. How is it that, right, if these vaccines are made to cure or made to stop something, and my unvaccinated child poses as a threat to your vaccinated child, we lost our train of thought. Like, we're not using logic anymore. It doesn't make any sense. Why can't we think clearly? Oh, why? Because We're being, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you on
We're
that.
being bombarded with all these damn chemicals. We're losing this battle.
No, I get what you're saying, and I feel like it all comes down to the confusion. You gotta give props to the masterminds that confuse the masses. You can't. I mean, you can be mad at people not understanding logic, but you also have to recognize the evil genius that's at play.
Yeah.
You have to recognize the reputation that these people, they're looking at these organizations that are larger than them, that's been around for however many years. Yo, why would I trust you over my doctor that's been looking over for me for however long? Why would I trust you over and not just you, and not you, but the person who's talking against the vaccine in general?
I mean, it makes sense,
Like
though.
people like Rizza Islam, like people online, because when you have the media, when you have these doctors, when you have teachers, when you have your job, people who are just the everyday people who are trying to get at it, and they hear this taboo conversation, they're like, "Yo, you crazy, man. Like, what are you talking about?"
Right.
I'm going to give my kid this vaccine.
Right.
I'm going to give myself this vaccine because the doctor said so.
Yeah.
And that's where that mentality is important to recognize, because that's how we got to COVID-19. That's how people got indoctrinated for that specific thing. It was the perfect conditioning prior to that paved the way for the COVID vaccine, which technically is not a vaccine. So that is where we have to understand and stand on the fact that, yo, they got him. Mm-hmm. Now, what we can do is we could plead to people to have more of an open mind, because it's easy to give in, man. It's so comfy.
Yeah.
It's easy to give in, dog. It's easy to give in to be like, you know what, I'm just gonna do what they say.
I felt like that at one point.
You feel what I'm saying?
I felt like that at one point. Can you imagine? And
some people had no choice too. Some people had no choice.
I understand.
Or felt like they
I
had
understand
no choice.
how people felt. You know why? Because you got to get in the mind of someone. I'm not gonna lie to you. I once believed in the health system, and to make a big decision not to get your children vaccinated is a very huge decision, because this is what you're ultimately saying.
You're getting ostracized.
You gotta really understand what that means. That means I'm at risk of putting my child's health at risk if I don't take these vaccines. It's a lot of pressure. I felt that pressure, and I'm not gonna lie to you. And I think myself, and I want to thank all the other parents who decided not to falter to the peer pressure, because you guys are heroes. You guys are heroes, and I'm going to tell you how you guys are heroes. The way that you guys are heroes is because you saved your generation, your future generation. You saved them. And I want to applaud you guys.
Right.
I want to applaud you.
Yeah. Nah, like you said, that takes a lot of courage, man. And shout out to you, man. I know that must have been difficult, man.
Yeah, it was. Thank God, like, I have actual people that are by my side that actually listen to me. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not going to lie to you. You also need, because it's a lot of pressure, you also need somebody that actually shares a lot of your views.
Right. Because
I remember I had somebody tell me in my inbox, yo, and I'm not going to mention their names, but this person, RIP, but I'm not going to mention this person's name. They said something to me that actually hurt. And they said that the person that I was with, they were like, they got you fucked up. You're listening to them. Mm. You're listening to this white person, is what they said. And I'm going to say, you're listening to this white person. She got you fucked up, is what she said to me. And I replied, I said, no, I have a mind of my own. I have a mind of my own. And if anything, she listens to what I say. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so where I'm coming from is, you also need someone who doesn't mind you leading, who wants you to lead, who you know what I mean, who trusts your decision making skills, is what I mean.
Right.
Because a lot of people, like, I've had conversations with people, one person would be pro-vax and the other person would be, you know, on the opposite end. And then when you guys have children, there's static between you guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? But Dessaline, I wanted to let the Blunteers know the conclusion of, when all the studies were done, and I'm going to read it right here. So, the study found that exposure to vaccination was independently associated with an overall 2.5-fold increase in the likelihood of developing a chronic health condition when compared to the children unexposed to vaccinations. This association was primarily driven by asthma, atopic disease, eczema, autoimmune disease, and neurodevelopmental disorders. This suggests that in certain children, exposure to vaccines may increase the likelihood of developing chronic health conditions, particularly for one of these conditions. Mind you, we have about like 20 health conditions that you can think of, like 20 diseases, and they will suffer from one of 20.
Right.
You know what I mean? So this is a very important document, and we will be listing this document. We'll share the links, because this type of information is very important, and we have to get back to reading and comprehending. We have to go back to school, guys, and we have to lean on people who are research orientated.
Right. And I agree with you, man. Like we got to also do our own research too. I believe that when it comes to these studies, and here comes the conspiracies for my last thoughts, to be honest, man. The conspiracy is they've probably known a good portion of it and rolled the dice.
Facts.
You got to understand, you're dealing with people who are influenced by money and power and greed. And for those of you who still do not understand the concept of greed and money, just go down any rabbit hole that has to do with any cures, anything health-wise. There are people who do these researches and they don't like what they find. They don't like what they see. And it's dark. It's a dark place to go into, because then you start to look at the world a different way. But it's important, because conversations like these are what is opening a lot of people's minds. And we're breeding independent thinkers through these conversations. Have your own opinion,
right?
Not a hive-minded opinion. Have your own opinion,
right?
Be ready to disagree,
right?
But back it up with evidence,
right?
Be ready to say, I don't know about that. I'm going to have to do some research into that. Instead of, I just disagree with you. No more of that, I just disagree. Don't do that anymore. Because that's what people are doing.
Right.
It's old for that now. We live with AI now.
Even I can't remember New York. Now. There's a New York rapper, a drill rapper. I can't remember his name. Even he be like, I gotta do some research on that.
That's it.
I don't remember that one. I gotta do some research on that.
That's it.
Who is X? Who is that? Then you don't know? The Lil Durk man. You know what I'm saying?
No,
I gotta do some research on that. Even he does research. You could do it too. If a Chicago drill rapper can do research, say the name. Say it. All right. So look, if a Chicago drill rapper can fucking go and do research,
right?
Come on, you could do research too.
That's it, man. If these drill rappers could do it, you could do it. Yeah, man, this was fascinating.
Yeah.
This was fascinating.
I enjoyed this conversation, yo.
You got any last thoughts on it?
I enjoyed this conversation. This is my last thoughts right now. Yo, who more do you want to be in? You got to take responsibility for yourselves, and the way that we'll do that is through taking actions. Do your research. You know what I mean? Follow through with others who are actually doing research as well. You know, you get into this family dynamic where you're not afraid to question your reality. You know what I mean? So right now I'm all about information, right? I'm all about information, trying to be exposed to the most information that I can and do as much research as I can. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people be like, oh, I don't have time. You do have time, because at the end of the day, you make time for what you want and what you think is important. And I believe that my family is important. These children that I created from my sperm These are my responsibilities, and I am an example. So me knowing this as a man, me knowing that I have people who look up to me, right? I have to make sure that I am the smartest and the most capable. You know what I mean? So with that being said, Blunteers, I believe in you guys. And I believe through this collectiveness, we can get through this hurdle together. And this is why we are here. We're not here just for information. No, we're here. This is like a family to us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Dessaline, let me hear what you got to say, man.
Right. Now it's definitely a family. It's definitely the blunt of reality. It's definitely the blunt of reality. Now, man, listen, I agree. I'm just piggybacking off of everything that you said. It's 100%, man. Like you want people to be just more aware now, man. Like, I feel like we're in an age of information. It's just so much information that's instantaneously given to you. Ask the right questions. Don't believe everything that everyone says, including us. Do your own research. Right. Stop judging people.
Right.
Stop looking at somebody say one sentence and then saying, oh, they're stupid. None of that. Dive deep. Right. Even if what they're saying is 100% wrong, there's always a reason why they said it. Who made them say it? Who's behind them saying it? Why do they want to push this fucking agenda? That's the important thing. You have to learn when to ask the right questions, whether it comes to vaccines, whether it comes to your health, whether it comes to food, FDA, CDC, him, her, him. Bodies.
Right, sis.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Bodies. Come on now. Listen, so I enjoyed this conversation too, man. We got to have more conversations like this. I'm about to take us out, yo. That's cool. I'm about to take us out. Listen, it's the blunt of reality.
Hold on. Yo, a lot of you guys been asking about these shirts, and yo, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's coming. We're gonna have this website on where you can get these shirts, and you know we got the sweaters too. So look, just type in. It's the blunt of reality.
Yeah, we got the shirts coming. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Nah, man.
Stay 100, they ain't scaring me. You want a censor a boss, you want a censor a king. I'm not taking a loss. That's is all I bring. I'm just speaking candidly. Ancestors, they stand with me. It's Pharaoh and Dessaline. It's the blunt of reality. Gotta stay 100, they ain't scaring me. You want a censor a boss, you want a censor a king. I'm not taking a loss. Facts is all I bring. I'm speaking candidly. Ancestors, they stand with me. It's Pharaoh and Dessaline. It's the blunt of reality.